What the heck does Cinderella and this week's transformational energy have to do with one another? 3 things happening this week that are going to create an energy that is for transformation. Cinderella transformational energy. We have the last week of summer. This is the time of year where we bring in our harvest, where we bring in all those manifestations, all those thoughts, and we create that new reality. The full moon is going to bring light. It sheds light on our shadow. It sheds light on the things that no longer serve us. So doing some shadow work this week and bringing up those things, identifying the things that are holding you back. Is it a narcissist? Is it an addiction? Is it somebody who's just making fun of you for whatever reason and making fun of your dreams and your thoughts and all those things you're going to say no to this week? And the third thing is this lunar eclipse happening with the full moon on September 17th. Eclipses are extremely transformational, and they will help you step in to that new higher self. Take you from rags, where Cinderella was in this voluntary servitude she found herself in, to a princess in a beautiful ball gown with glass slippers. And here are 2 things that Cinderella did that I want you to do this week to step into this new self. The first thing I want you to do is to say no. I want you to say no to those bullies in your life, that narcissist in your life. I want you to say no. Maybe it's an addiction. Maybe it's not a person. Maybe it's something you're doing to yourself. And if it is an addiction, this is a great week to get rid of that addiction. This is a great week to say no, set your boundaries, keep your boundaries firm, and say yes to the things that light you up, to the things that bring you joy, happiness, the things that will bring you transformation into this new self of yours. You cannot go forward into this transformation if you do not release what no longer serves. When Cinderella said no to her stepmother, she was saying yes to herself. Cinderella was not saved by her prince. Cinderella was saved by herself because she said no for the first time and set boundaries with her stepmother, who had her as a servant. And Cinderella was a voluntary servant because of trauma, because of manipulation. But when she realized that she actually had a choice, she made a different choice. And she went forth. And yes, she had help from her fairy godmother. But that's the magic of saying no. When we say no, and we do the things that we want to do for ourselves, that we know are good for ourselves, we are saying yes to magic. We are saying yes to transformation. We are saying yes to our fairy godmother to come down from the heavens and bibbidi-bobbidi-boo our life into a new reality. But we have to make those decisions before they can happen. The second thing you must know going forward into this new version of yourself is forgiveness. If Jesus taught us anything when he came down here, it was to love thy neighbor, love thy enemy, and forgive. You cannot love without forgiveness. You cannot walk with God in Christ consciousness without forgiveness. You have to forgive the people that have hurt you. You have to forgive yourself for hurting you. This week, 2 years ago, on the 18th of September, I quit drinking. And that was a miracle. It was a miracle for me to stop drinking because I had tried to quit hundreds of times. Every time I took that last sip, I was, this is it. And then a day would go by, or 2 weeks would go by if I was lucky, and I was drinking again. So if there is an addiction, this energy this week will help you quit that addiction. If there is a narcissist in your life, someone pushing you down, someone stopping you from moving forward in your life, this week is the week to say no more. And you don't even have to announce it to them or to anybody. You can just keep it quietly to yourself and make a different decision, go a different way. Do the thing that lights you up and not what they want you to do. And then I want you to forgive them. And I know this is a hard concept to get when you are holding on to fear and anger. But I want to show you something. Oops. I want to show you something. This is a tuning fork. I'm going to hold it down here by my mic. Now, when the tuning fork is struck, it vibrates, and that vibration makes a noise, right? Because it's allowing that vibration to move through it. Now, when I was angry and in fear, when I was living in PTSD, when I was living in my trauma, I would get so angry and fearful of those things happening to me again. I would just clam up and I'd be like this. And sometimes I'd end up on my kitchen floor for 2 hours, just like this, reliving these experiences. It almost felt like, I could physically feel the experience still happening to me because it was in my mind though. I was reliving it and I was clamping up. Now, when you clamp up, just like with the tuning fork, if I were to hold it, there's no noise, there's no vibration. No vibration can pass through it anymore. When we have a stronghold on our body, it works the same way. Love cannot flow through you. Vibration cannot flow through you. And when we forgive, we are saying no to fear. We are saying no to hate and anger. And when we do that, the love of God can start vibrating through our body. The peace of God will overwhelm you. No matter what is going on in your life, the peace of God is possible. When my son was in the hospital, he just got done with a heart surgery. And I got a phone call. I was with my other son at a hotel close by. And the phone call was a nurse telling me that he had just had a cardiac arrest. And immediately, my mom gears switched on, and I knew I couldn't panic, I couldn't freeze, I had to just go. I had a mission, and I had to go be by my son. Even if his heart wasn't beating, I knew his soul was close by, I had to be there for him. So I rushed to the hospital, and I was getting to the hospital in an Uber, and I was praying quietly. I was like, please God, please God, please God, don't let him go, don't let him go, don't let him go, don't let him go. And the Uber driver heard me. I think he was from Ethiopia, and he goes, oh my God, because he saw where I was headed, and he's like, oh, please, Jesus, and he's praying with me. And then he drops me off, and I rush up to the room, and all these nurses and doctors are around him, trying to resuscitate him. My son was gone for an hour until they were able to hook him up to ECMO, life support, full life support, a machine that was beating his heart for him, making him breathe, pumping his blood through his body. I mean, he was not there. The machine was what was making him alive. So the doctors, somebody escorted me to a waiting room. And as I'm in this waiting room, I go into meditation because it is the only thing I know to do in that point. At that point, I know I need to get to his soul. I need to see him. So I go into a meditation, and I'm there. I'm sitting with him under this willow tree that I've seen him at before he was born, before I was even pregnant with him. And I'm sitting there with him, and I'm just begging him, please come back. Please choose life. Please choose life. And as I'm sitting there with him under this willow tree in this meditation, I just get this overwhelming sense of peace. And that there is no explanation besides the peace of God. Because that was one of the worst nights of my life. And despite that, I was able to feel the peace of God. And I knew my son was going to make it. 115 days after arriving at the hospital, my son was able to leave the hospital on September 18th. So this week for me is Miracle Week. And maybe you won't get your miracle or as big of a miracle. And trust me, you don't want that big of a miracle, because getting that big of a miracle means you have to be in a very, very desperate situation. And I wish that place on nobody, no parent. But I hope you can use this transformational energy this week to step into your new reality, your highest self, because I promise you there is a life for you that you have wanted, that you have yearned for. And if you can only forgive, let go, say no, hold those boundaries tightly, firmly, and let love and peace vibrate through your inner being, you will get the transformation that you want. The earth, the moon, the universe, God is here to support you this week. Thank you for joining me. Seriously, thank you for giving my small channel a chance. Wherever you are, peace be with you.